Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video. And I'm going to start it off with an article on CNN.com titled, Americans Are Getting Worried About the Job Market, and was posted on April 25th of last month. And hey, the title says it all. Americans are getting worried about the job market. The economic situation in America is deteriorating so bad and so quickly that now these average Americans out here are starting to see it. They're really starting to get worried. And we know through the scriptures that things are only going to get worse out here. More job losses, more store closures, economic collapse, great depressions. Hey, the greatest depression of all. And it's going to lead to people out here fighting each other in the streets and in these stores, breaking into houses, stealing food, water, anything they can get their hands on to survive. We truly are living in the times of the total collapse of the United States of America. And the cherry on top is going to be when those 200 million nuclear missiles hit this place, turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. But as it says in the article, U.S. consumer confidence worsened in April as Americans become more pessimistic about the job market. The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index, which measures attitudes toward the economy and the job market, fell to 101.3% in April, down from 104% in March, and marking the lowest level since July 2022. The business group's measure of economic expectations fell in April and has remained below a threshold associated with a recession within the next year for every month since February 2022, with the exception of an uptick in December. Consumer attitudes have held steady since the turbulence in the banking industry last month, but high inflation and economic uncertainty have continued to weigh on consumers. Consumers became more pessimistic about the outlook for both business conditions and labor markets, said Adamin Azi Ilderim, Senior Director of Economics at the Conference Board, in a statement accompanying the data. Compared to last month, fewer households expect business conditions to improve and more expect worsening of conditions in the next 6 months. And what's only going to exacerbate all these issues is these different countries outside of the U.S. looking to de-dollarize. That's going to further add to the inflation, which is going to lead to hyperinflation and make the money worthless so people can't buy anything. People can't pay their rent, their mortgages, their car notes, and everything, and do what? Get kicked out of their houses, lose their cars, be on the streets. Which, like I said at the beginning of the video, what's that going to lead to? Violence in the streets, violence at these stores, breaking into homes because of people's desperation. That matches government figures showing the labor market has begun to show some cracks. Employers added 236,000 jobs in March, the smallest gains in 2 years, and job openings fell below 10 million for the first time since May 2021. Large companies have continued to announce layoffs, such as 3 million layoffs, which announced, I think that's the name of the company, such as 3M, which announced on Tuesday that it's cutting 6,000 jobs. The April survey showed that worries about the economy slipping into a recession persisted last month. Economists, including those at the Federal Reserve, expect a recession later in the year as the Fed's rate hikes take deeper hold. The share of consumers expecting more jobs to be available fell to 12.5% in April, down from 15.5% in March, while the share who anticipate fewer jobs increased to 21% from 20.5% during the same period. Now let's get a few precepts. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verses 3 to 4. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. And the keepers of the house are talking about these economists and different financial figures and experts and those on Wall Street. And what did we just read? Economists, including those at the Federal Reserve, expect a recession later in the year. When the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders or workers. They have a saying amongst you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the true children of Israel. When you're working, you're what? You're on your grind. And the workers, the grinders, cease because they are few. Why is that? Because there's no work out there. Businesses shut down, which leads to what? Layoffs. And those that look out of the windows be darkened. What? People having a very pessimistic view of things because they see that the economic conditions out there are deteriorating. More companies are shutting down and there are more layoffs. People don't see a future. They start to worry how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to put food on the table for them or their children, how they're going to keep a roof over their head. And that's exactly what we're reading about in that article. Again, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. The share of consumers expecting more jobs to be available fell to 12.5% in April, down from 15.5% in March, while the share who anticipate fewer jobs increased to 21% from 20.5% during the same period. U.S. consumer confidence worsened in April as Americans become more pessimistic about the job market. And those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, with the doors of these different businesses and companies, when the sound of the grinding or working is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird. People waking up early in the morning to try to find new jobs, but what? Since the windows have been darkened and these businesses have shut down, the doors being shut in the streets, there's no work to be found. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Look at the state of music out here. It's just in a complete state of shit. The mainstream music out here is garbage, but that's on another note. Let's get back to this article. Expectations signal weaker consumption, but not a disaster. Ian Shepherdson, chief economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics, wrote in an analyst note. Household spending rose at a slower pace in February compared with a 2% jump in January. The Department of Commerce will release consumer spending figures for March on Friday. That's it with this article. But now I'm going to go to my second article, just to show how the doors are being shut in the streets and the sound of the grinding is getting lower and lower. This is an article on thesun.com. Closing time. Full list of stores shutting their doors in the U.S. in the next few weeks as big brands like H&M announce major closures. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And this article was posted on May 5th of this month. H&M and Banana Republic have prepared to close some of their stores in the coming weeks. Execs at major brands such as Nordstrom have also announced that the chain's downtown San Francisco store will close for good. Banana Republic store is set to close in Syracuse, New York on May 24th, according to Syracuse.com. The outlet is located in the hugely popular shopping mall Destiny, USA, which is visited by around 26 million people annually. A H&M store in Rochester, Minnesota will cease operations on June 3rd. The reasons behind the pending store closure remain unknown. Assessing and reviewing our store portfolio to adapt to changing customer behavior is something that we have done ever since we opened our first store, a company spokesperson told the U.S. Sun. While physical stores will always remain important to us and something we continue to invest in, having the right stores in the right locations is vital to ensure our long-term and sustainable growth. Just damage control. Hey, we've got to close these stores because we're not getting a lot of foot traffic. We're going to move them to more economically viable locations, which at the end of the day, more and more of these businesses and stores are going to close down due to what? Deteriorating economic conditions. The United States of America is about to be foreclosed on, and there's about to be a liquidation sale. Meanwhile, a Nordstrom store at San Francisco's Westfield Mall is set to shut down by the end of August. An exec told staffers that the business's dynamic has seen dramatic changes, according to the ABC affiliate KGO. Bosses have warned that foot traffic has been impacted. What do we have right here? Final goodbye. Beloved store and Panera Bread rival closes down for good after 70 years. Execs have confirmed that they will not be renewing the store's lease. Officials at the mall have blamed the city's unsafe conditions, as per the San Francisco Chronicle. And hey, it's all a vicious circle. The more the economic situation deteriorates out here and people lose their jobs and are out on the streets, that's just going to create more criminality on the streets, more unsafe conditions. Whole Foods Market's flagship store in the city closed in April amid a backdrop of rising theft and security fears. It's not just clothing retailers that are shutting down stores. Home goods chain Bed Bath & Beyond is holding liquidation sales after filing for bankruptcy. The embattled retailer had teetered on the brink of bankruptcy for months. All 360 locations, as well as 120 Bye Baby stores, are set to shut down by June 30th unless the company can find a buyer in the coming weeks. Beloved discount chain Tuesday Morning is also shutting down hundreds of stores months after filing for bankruptcy, but shoppers can grab a bargain as items have been cut in price by up to 30%. Tuesday Morning warned in February that the business had to be restructured to tackle its exceedingly burdensome debt. Bosses culled the portfolio of stores to around 480 from 700 just 3 years ago. It's the second time Tuesday Morning has filed for bankruptcy. Execs at the popular sportswear retailer Foot Locker are restructuring parts of the business. In March, it announced plans to shutter more than 400 stores. The company will have an estimated 10% fewer locations by 2026. And Abaratazah, we ain't here in 2026. But the company plans to open at least 300 new concept stores by 2026. To this article. Hey, but as you can see, nothing but lamentations and mournings and woes for the economic condition in the United States of America, and it's only going to get worse from here on out. This is Isaiah chapter 24. I'm going to read verses 7 to 11. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of the tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. As these economic conditions continue to deteriorate and inflation leads to hyperinflation, people won't have anything to be happy about. Going out is going to be a thing of the past because they can't afford it. Just enjoying your creature comforts or your other little luxuries is going to be a thing of the past. it's going to become even more of a day-to-day struggle for people in the United States of America as this country continues to fall into a third world status. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Instead of going out to drink to have a good time, people are going to be drinking to drown out their sorrows, to drown out the fact that they're about to be kicked out on the streets, that they can't put food on the table for them or their children, or that they just lost their job. And over the last couple of years, especially during the C-19 situation, there's been an uptick in alcohol and drug use amongst Americans. The city of confusion is broken down, and Babylon in the Hebrew is Babel, which means confusion by mixing, and the United States of America is known as Babylon the Great, the virgin daughter of Babylon, the mother of harlots, in Revelation chapter 17. The city of confusion, the city of Babylon, the United States of America, is broken down. Every house is shut up, back in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. Closing time. Full list of stores shutting their doors in the U.S. in the city of confusion in the next few weeks as big brands like H&M announce major closures. Every house is shut up that no man may come in. There's a crying for wine in the streets, and that's not talking about a bottle of Merlot. That's talking about answers out here, because in the scriptures, wine can be symbolic for knowledge or philosophies or anything like that. People are going to be looking for answers to why things are getting bad out here. And the only true answers you're going to find is from the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this. But the only people that are going to truly understand the times we're in are the elect of the nation of Israel, whom the Most High has put the Spirit on to understand his word through the prophets. Hence, as it says in Isaiah 33, verse 6, and knowledge, wisdom, and understanding shall be the stability in thy times. These horrific times of Jacob's trouble we're quickly coming into. As for everybody else, 2/3 of our people, and especially you heathens, hey, you're not going to get any answers. You're going to get straight judgment. There's a crying for wine in the streets. And on top of that, the famine of the word is quickly coming, to where the men of the Lord are no longer going to be on the highways and byways preaching this word, and video epistles like this are not going to be online anymore. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. A pessimistic outlook for the future of the United States of America, which, as we can see, even the average American is starting to wake up to that reality. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. As we can clearly see, we're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the biblical Edomites, known as the so-called white people today, primarily from the United States of America, the city of confusion, which we can see is continually breaking down. So as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.